Anong unang naramdaman mo when you first landed in Canada?
Well, actually, sobrang halo-halo yung emotions. Nakaramdam ako ng takot, ng saya, at syempre, sobrang excited.
It kind of felt surreal. Actually, when I first landed here, it felt like this is my second home.
Hi guys, I'm John.
And I'm Ron,
And this is JROHN TV.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to JROHN TV.
And today, we're doing a very special how-to vlog.
That's right, this is a very special vlog because we're sharing our personal experiences on how we immigrated and became permanent residents here in our home country, Canada.
That's right. And we're dedicating this video to our fellow kababayans in the Philippines and to also different parts of the globe who's also dreaming in moving here in the Great White North.
We also dreamt of moving to Canada before, and now we're here, living the dream.
So if you're just like us, keep on watching this video because we're going to share the steps that we follow before and during our immigration process.
But before we proceed with the steps, let us tell you why we moved to Canada.
I moved to Canada because I can immigrate as a permanent resident.
There's lots of job opportunities.
Healthcare benefits, which are mostly free.
It feels safe here.
I can bring my family here in the future.
It's a multicultural country and there's lots of Filipinos here.
Discriminations in all forms are not allowed here.
It's an absolutely stunning place and there's so much to see and explore.
Family friendly.
There's lots of outdoor activities.
White Christmas.
Okay, fine. The snow.
So those are the reasons why we moved to Canada. I'm sure you have your own personal reasons too. So before we begin with step 1, let me ask you this question. Why do you want Canada to be your second home? Step 1. This is the most important thing that you should do when you thought of moving here. So first, get your laptop or sit in front of your computer and go to www.canada.ca. Look for immigration and citizenship. Next, tap the Immigrate link and then click the Express entry. Since this is a how-to based on our experience, we will focus on the Express entry path because that's how we process our immigration application. So to continue, click the How Express Entry Work. And finally, go to step 1 and find out if you're eligible to any program under Express Entry. On this step, you need to answer some questions to determine your eligibility. You'll be asked about your nationality, your age, your language ability, family members, work, and any job offer. When I did this step, my result was I am eligible to apply for Federal Worker Skilled Program. That program is for skilled workers with foreign work experience. So tip number 1. When you're answering the eligibility questions, be as accurate as possible.
So now that you're eligible to apply under Federal Skilled Worker of Express Entry Program, you can go back to step 1 on how Express Entry works and tap Read the detailed requirements for each program and select Federal Skilled Worker. On this page, you will find the detailed information about the program, such as the minimum requirements like work, education, language ability, and experience. Tip number 2. Read and dissect all the information on the Federal Skilled Worker page. Just by doing that, you'll easily understand the entire process. I did took important notes while studying the process. For me, it's just easier to remember if you took down notes on it. So after fully reading and understanding the information and process, we can now move to step number 2.
Step 2. Taking the English test. During my time, I took the IELTS or the International English Language Testing System, and I took the test in Singapore since I was working there. Usually, others are scared or intimidated just by thinking of taking the test. Well, to be honest, I was scared too. However, I took the time to prepare myself. I read lots of English books, watched different sitcoms like Friends, Modern Family, How I Met Your Mother, and practice speaking in English. Tip number 3. Fully prepare yourself before taking the test. Besides, it's not cheap. So keep in mind that the examiner should give you a high score. You pay them anyway. And one more thing, I listen to lots of English podcasts and watch different English news. That kinda helped me a lot too. Now let's move on to step 3. Since you need to show the minimum requirements on your education, you need to have an education credential assessment for immigration purposes. It will serve as a proof that your education is equal to a completed degree, certificate, or diploma in a Canadian school. I did mine on WES or World Education Services. It was so easy to do. You just need to go to WES.com and start your application. You need to have your school transcript and diploma handy while doing the application. Also, you need to contact your school because they will be the one who will send your sealed transcript in WES office. If I remember correctly, I think when I submitted my application and all the required documents, it took like 2 months before I received the result. Tip number 4. You can do this even if you haven't taken your English test yet. It might save you some time. Waiting for 2 months for the result is quite dreadful.
So now that you have your English test and education credential assessment results, congratulations! You're almost halfway there. And now you can proceed to step number 4, which is to create your Express Entry and Jobs Bank profile. For me, this was the most exciting part of my immigration application because I felt like I already conquered the hardest part, and it's kinda exciting and weird at the same time. Now, go back to the Express Entry page and click the Submit Your Express Entry profile. You'll be directed to a page where you can click or sign in to your account. You need the following documents with you when you're doing the online profile, such as passport, English test results, education credential assessment result, if you have any provincial nomination, or any written job offer from any employer in Canada. Also, on this point, you need to know your National Occupation Classification, Job Title and Code, or NOC. Tip number 5. Make sure that you're ready and update your resume before you do the online application. You will need this when you're doing your Jobs Bank profile application.
Step 5. Or the waiting game. Now that you've submitted your application, all you need to do is wait. But you can actually start to prepare all the documents needed once you receive your invitation to apply or the ITA. These documents are your updated passport, national ID, school diploma, employment certificate from past and present employers, marriage certificate if applicable, NBI clearance, police clearance from your country of residence, proof of funds, very important, and digital photos. Number 6. As early as possible, make sure to contact your previous employers and request an employment certificate. Have them to include your detailed job descriptions and responsibilities.
Step 6. Finally, this is the moment that you receive your ITA or your invitation to apply. When I received my ITA, I was given 60 days to complete and submit all the required documents. And since I almost completed this one on step 5, all I need to do now is to have my medical exam. And finally, to respond to my invitation to apply my permanent residency here in Canada.
Step 7, or the final step. Now that you've submitted all the required documents in your ITA or invitation to apply, you will receive an email from CIC or immigration officer requesting you to send them your passport. When I first saw this email on my inbox, it was an absolute mix of emotions. I won't forget that because during that time I was in New Zealand visiting my family. It felt like it was one of the happiest days in my life. All the efforts are all worth it.
So, anong naramdaman mo when you first landed here in Canada?
Actually, when I first landed here in Canada, I was kind of scared and reluctant because I'm on the opposite of the world and I'm very far away from my family. But they know and I know that this is for them. Anong unang naramdaman mo when you first landed in Canada?
Well, It was really weird. Sobrang mixed emotion. Una, sobrang nakakatakot, and then sobrang saya, and then sobrang excited kasi hindi ako makapaniwala na nakarating ako ng Canada. So lahat ng efforts na ginawa ko during the application, during the immigration process, sobrang worth it.
So if you're dreaming on moving here in Canada, go for it. And if you have the will and determination, I feel like you can do it also. Because kami nga, we did it on our own, right?
Yeah, that's
And
right.
look where we are now. So
And it felt so good to be here. So you can just start on step 1 and climb yourself up to the other steps. And we know that this is really not a detailed process or step-by-step process. But the key here, guys, is research. You just need to research on your own and dig into your hearts kung bakit nyo gustong pumunta ng Canada. We did that, and I think you should do it too.
Yeah.
It worked.
yeah, if you really want to move here in Canada, yeah, so 3 things. Research, prepare your money, and have the will and determination. And that ends our vlog for today. So if you have any comments, suggestions, or any tips on what to do and what not to do, feel free to comment down below.
So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit the subscribe button.
And don't forget to click the notification down below so that you will be updated on our future vlogs.
Bye!